What's up, guys, and welcome to another video. And I'm still in shock about the Lakers versus Warriors game that I just watched. Beautiful basketball game. You can see it up there. Final second overtime, 145, 144, Lakers W. But that's not what we're talking about here. This is a Knicks podcast. So let's get right into it. So my pregame thoughts was Miami has lost their last five. Their offense is kind of stuck in the mud. Even when they got Terry Rozier, their offense is stuck in the mud. Jaime Jaquez has been one of their this is kind of crazy because everybody's so hated on Jaime Jaquez. It wasn't his fault. It was not his fault. There's no bad intentions on that. But Jaime Jaquez has been one of the great rookies in this league, and he's just been able to, outside of Chet Wemby and like Miller, he's been great. Just the way he has been just so smart in like his passing and his spin moves and his just ball handling and his shooting. Like it's just a perfect player. He's like 23 years old. He's a kind of a veteran draft pick. He's a proven guy, so he's gonna be good right away. And he's that type of heat guy that they want on their squad. Terry Rozier was a piece um, for the Heat that was really needed because they need scoring. And outside of Tyler Hero, they had and Jimmy Butler, but like that's playoff. And then there's not a lot of scoring in between those lines, so it's like A, you need somebody else, and that's why they went out and get Terry Rozier. They could have got Dame in the offseason. They struck out on that, and they kind of struck out on a lot of other players. But they landed on Terry Rozier. He's averaging 20 a game in the Charlotte Hornets. Hasn't done great in Miami. Didn't do great this game. But what I'm going to tell you this is that he has. I heard that a Heat fan said he has more games than practices, which is crazy. But if that's true, then hands up. This is nothing. This is nothing to really go over the top. Like, oh, this is not amazing. This is a terrible move. The Hornets won the trade. No, they didn't win the trade. Um, you cannot tell me that after 3 games. I know it was a terrible 3 games, but the guy has not practiced a lot. He's probably like, oh, what am I gonna do? Like in the flow of the offense? Am I gonna try to create my own stuff? It's weird. It's two different systems. Um, Try to attack offensively when Terry and Hero on the court together. Terry Rozier had made it in this league because of his defense, and that's why I think that he got it. Because he the reason he's in this league for the start of it was because of his defense. The reason he got in, I think he got drafted by the Boston Celtics. The reason he got to play on the Boston Celtics was because of a defense. So you see guys like the DeJounte Murray start on their defensive end. So DeJounte Murray got in the league in the defensive end. And then Terry Rozier just scoring has gone a leap. And his defense he's too little, to be honest with you. Like, I know Jalen Brunson was just eating all night long. Just like there's nobody who I get it's Jalen Brunson, but like Tyler Hero and Terry Rozier, you're expecting Terry Rozier to go to the best perimeter player. And tonight it was Jalen Brunson. And you'll see a lot of Jalen Brunsons. You'll see a lot of people like Jalen Brunson during if you want to make the playoffs. If you make the playoffs, you'll see a lot of Jalen Brunsons. So you can't really say, oh well, Jalen Brunson's so great and you'll never see him. No, there's a ton of Jalen Brunsons out there. Curry. Well, Curry you won't see in the play. Oh, I know Jalen Brunson is great. I told you this. But there's a lot of great guards in the league. Like you cannot just say oh it's a regular season game against the Kings. Like De'Aaron Fox pretty good. Like you might want to guard him. So if Terry Rozier goes up and guards him, it's a blow by. Like it's not just Jalen Brunson who will do damage to you. There's other players in the league that will break down Terry Rozier. And um let me bring up another example. You know, Trey Young, Trey Young, I guess. Atlanta Hawks, Trey Young. He'll break him down. Like Luka Doncic. Like who guards Luke? Who guards Kyrie? Like that's my thing. When you go up against these teams, like now you go up against like a Damian Lillard. Like who's guarding Dame? Who's guarding Dame? Like who's guarding Donovan? Who's guarding Garland when he's healthy? Like that's my point there, and that's just what they have to figure out. And it's the best person to figure it out with is Eric Spoelstra. And that's why he got the contract, is to figure it out. And he deserves every single penny of it. But you gotta beat the Eric Spoelstra zone, and the Knicks did that phenomenally. The Knicks did that amazing. They made him go out of the zone. He didn't know what to do after he ran that zone because it worked so well for them last series, like last season when they played in the 6 game series against the Knicks in the playoffs. So he was like, "Oh, what do I do now? They can now beat the zone. So what do I do?" And I think it's a compilation of kind of the combination of Dante DiVincenzo, signed out of DiVincenzo and trading for OG Anunoby. That combination worked really well in beating that zone. Make Jimmy unselfish. He wasn't really unselfish this game. I think he ended up like 27, something like that. Let me look, but he wasn't unselfish, but like there's a lull in the third quarter where like or a lull in like a quarter where he just didn't score. And that's not what you want from your star players. And he won't be doing that in the playoffs, but 28 points, you got a lull in a quarter where he just didn't score. And it's like you're playing in a regular season game as a star. I know he will be scoring every single time he touches the ball in the playoffs, but we're talking about regular season right now, and you got to show up scoring the ball every single quarter for your team, especially if your team's scoring really not that good scoring wise together. So you have to show up. You can't have those quarters. You can't afford those quarters where you're just gonna not where you're just gonna shoot like 2 shots. You can't. Um Had a good job going to the line, but like that's it. Like you can't go like a quarter without like with shooting 2 shots. Like you can't do that if you're Jimmy Butler. Your team is so handicapped scoring wise, you just need to take it upon yourself. Bam is one of the best defensive players in the league. I'm taking my whole bias aside. The whole compilation of Bam Adebayo injuring Knicks players, but I'm gonna keep it to the game. Bam Adebayo is one of the best defense players in the league. His pick and roll defense is second to none. Just the way he can get the ball, like just the way he gives Eric Spoelstra different ways to cover them. And if you give Eric Spoelstra multiple ways, that's so great. That's why Eric Spoelstra one of the greatest because you have somebody like Bam who gives him different ways to kind of, make his magic. And it's very good to run a zone with him because most of the time Bam's the one sitting his behind in the paint. And no one can drive on Bam Adebayo when he's sitting his behind in the paint. Like there's not a lot of players who can drive on him. And that gives Eric Spoelstra a lot of options on the defensive end. I hark back, watch the ball movement, and watch the rebounding, which the rebounding was better, but the ball movement wasn't. I don't really see it. Like I didn't see it, but the ball movement was better, but I just didn't see it. Like the ball movement was as good as Jericho Sims was in, but like he definitely like it was Isaiah Hartenstein, and I felt it. Even though he was hurt a little bit, but I felt it. This could be an old fashioned gritty game, and this was an old fashioned gritty game. You guys were complaining about defense. I mean defense stinks. Like Luka at 73. Maybe because the Atlanta Hawks just can't play defense. Maybe they just need to fix their own personnel. Maybe they just need to fire their head coach. Or maybe the Pacers just don't play like a defense. Just think about that. Like we all had this conversation. The Pacers are not a good defensive team. Like Devin Booker having 62 easily, like, and they won the game. It shows that the Pacers do not care. Like they'll play you in the 130s. They do not care. So why does that make you? Why does that make you confused? That should make you confused. That's how the Pacers win games. Um. So I'm gonna go to my post game here. Hero and Terry started to get going. I mean, Hero and Terry not started to get going. Started together. They them starting together. As I said, it wasn't really the best thing, but I could see it. I mean, it's just a test. I mean, it's just like a kind of Eric Spoelstra doesn't really know what to do with him right now. I mean, no coach would know because it's just two like practices or something like that. Like you wouldn't know like where should I play him? Like maybe he should be more of that energy guy for them. Maybe you just figure that out, and that's what trial and error when you get a new player. We're lucky that we got an OG Anunoby where you can just know like firmly this guy's going to start a small forward. He's going to give you the defensive effort, and he's also going to hit that three ball. And then whatever he gives you besides that, it's just cherry on the top. Um, but Julius was drawing doubles in the first kind of half, the whole game kind of was Julius drawing doubles, and the Knicks just worked very good ball movement out of that because they were kind of like shocked because of the zone in the first quarter, and they got loosened up. But while they were shocked by that zone, they were able to score the basketball, of course, because they scored. I mean, everybody's gonna score, so that's why Julius was. That's why the Knicks were scoring, because Julius was just garnering so much attention, and that's as he should. He's an all star. Like he's an all star, all NBA type player. Like he should be garnering that attention, but the Knicks were able to play at that, and I think it helped the bench out really well with Deuce McBride hitting some corner threes. Dante working off of Julius, as I always say. The way they work off each other is beautiful. Um, they were blitzing the Brunson pick and roll, and I think that kind of showed the team building that Leon Rose put together. I think you know, that kind of put it together for me. That kind of made it evident of what Leon Rose was trying to do. And what he tried to do is he was like, okay, once the team blitzes me, what do I do? You know what? Julius Randle's wide open. We can get Dante penetrating, and then off the blitz, Jalen's done. He's done dribbling the basketball. Get it to Dante. We'll get the Hart. Hart penetrates, gives it out to OG for a wide open three. Like, that's the vision. Like, that's the vision. Like, you can't run any. The vision is for Jalen Brunson to be unguardable. The vision is for, like, what do you do? Like, you're blitzing him, but Josh Hart's just hurting you, penetrating into your defense and just kicking it out. To OG, I know we're one of the best corner shooters in the league. Like, that is where you want to be. Um, Grimes was aggressive like the whole entire game. He got some foul shots, hit, miss some, but like just the way his defense, just like sometimes I feel like, why do you want to trade him? Like the guy would be so critical in your playoff run. Just his defense, just screen mobility, just everything about him, just just not letting people screen him, just everything about him defensively and the offense. I mean, the offense, one dribble pull up, kind of shoot it, and just he can give you a little bit more. I've seen a little bit more off the bench, but not that much. And he can also, now he's being aggressive. He's in the free throw line. Like he's shown improvement offensively, and his defense just the thing that we already know. Like that's the thing advertised. But um, but that's just great from him. I get it. We need a point guard. I understand. I understand we need another shot creator. I understand that. But if you can trade Evan Fournier in a first, I think you can get yourself Malcolm Brogdon. I think you can. But I think that's what the Knicks want to do. Is just Evan Fournier package Evan Fournier in first, and then Grimes could be a depth piece, just in case. Like that would be beautiful because the way he can just move around defensively, just in case of injuries, like that's just beautiful. Ihart looked injured, but he just gutted through it like everything else. He gutted through it, and that's just something that sets people apart is the way he just gut through that game, and it was beautiful. Um, yeah, you can double all day, but the Knicks were just being able to find the open man. Like it was just that simple. Like sometimes the Knicks would be, whoa, what am I doing? Or the Knicks wouldn't be able to hit the three. Like they were able to find the open man and get the ball to efficient players. Like OG got some touches because the Knicks were just finding efficient players from three. Um, so there was possessions where you have Randle on the basketball court, and you have this is kind of a negative, and you have a Deuce McBride and Precious Achua at pick and roll. That took years off my life. That took years off my life. That my life expectancy is now down because of that. That was awful. Give the ball to Julius Randle. You know what he's been doing all game long. I understand the turnovers. I understand that, but he's only done positive stuff. So give him the ball, and we can work out of that. Deuce McBride has been one of the best spot up shooters for the Knicks in the last few games. Like he can hit that three ball from the corner if you want him to. So I don't understand running that pressure to and Deuce McBride pick and roll. Well, that's one of the worst things pressure to it does is just laying the ball up in the hoop pick and roll, kind of guarded by like a Bam Adebayo. As I said on the top of this video, like Bam's one of the best defensive pick and roll players. Why are we running a Deuce McBride pressure to a pick and roll? Like Bam Adebayo's sleeping. Like he's done. Like that just is so easy for him. He's gonna take a nap. Like he's gonna take a nap. He's seen pick and rolls like a like an Anthony Davis and LeBron pick and roll. What do you think he thinks of a Deuce McBride and a and a Precious Chua pick and roll? He's gonna nap. He's gonna go to sleep. But yeah, that just didn't work. Can't run a zone anymore, Eric. Spo. but you just can't. You can't, and that's one of the best things I think the Knicks did, and they addressed that, and they understood. They understood the assignment. They understood that what the Knicks lacked, going out of that series against the Heat. Of course, it's the but they understood how they lost, and they lost because they were kicking out to shooters that couldn't make shots. And you bring in DiVincenzo in the offseason, and he could hit shots. He could damn well hit shots. We could see him all night long just hit that three ball. And we've seen him the whole entire season long hit that three ball. And also OG Anunoby, you trade for him midseason. You just improve the spacing. You just improve, spacing. Like size and spacing was something the Knicks improved on, and they improved size and they improved spacing. Like that is the two S's that I really, really like for this Knicks team. And I really thought that they improved on. That's the reason they lost, was because they couldn't hit shots. It's because they didn't have enough size to deal with some players like Jimmy Butler. That's why they lost. And they kind of just addressed that. And they were like, you know what? We're good. We can get out of the second round now. But the Knicks are now they're not done. They're still going to build on that. But you know what? All this good stuff, me talking about the Knicks, um, my man Julius Randle is in the game with 4 minutes left, which I don't hate that. People would be like, "Oh, Thibs is this." Um, I would be that guy. I would be the Thibs guy. I would be like, "Oh, why is he?" Because Jimmy Butler was in the basketball game. If you look at it, Hami Hawk is a starter slash bench player. He's not a guy you just play with the. It's not a guy you throw the white flag with. You don't throw the white flag and put Hami Hawkins out there. He's a pretty damn good basketball player. You not throw the white flag and keep him in there. So obviously the Heat weren't done. So the Knicks weren't going to be done. Obviously they weren't. So he kept them in. And even though hindsight is they couldn't have came back, but they definitely couldn't have. But like the Heat weren't done, so why should Dibs take his guys out? Like why? But it sucks. I mean, it sucks because the Knicks had the game and it was over, and 4 minutes left, so you would want Julius to sit, but like the Heat weren't done. That's the reality. Like the Heat just weren't done, and that Julius dislocated shoulder just it doesn't feel right to me because he'd be out for like a few weeks, which I wouldn't be mad if it's a few games, like 10 games. It doesn't really hurt me right now today. Like a few games to few games. Like you have such an easy schedule that I I, I do think that this makes Leon Rose make a trade for something that like it makes him make a trade, and I think it does. I think it further pushes the narrative that the Knicks are to make a trade because Randall's now down. Like where they get the scoring other than Jalen Brunson. OG, I know has been perfect off the dribble so far, but that can easily shut down. So where do you go? You go Dante, but I guess they can get you the Hornets game, but like Malcolm Brogdon's on the market, like Jordan Clarkson's on the market, Colin Sexton's on the market, like call. Um, Other players like that are on the mark. Tyus Jones on the like call. Like Daniel Gaff, like no, not Daniel. Like those players on the market. Why not call? Why not see? Because the Knicks right now are a team with Jalen Brunson and their second best scorer being OG Anunoby, which OG Anunoby can easily lose his handle. But he's been able to get better situation. I think it's off of Randall. Like it's gonna be a lot of blitzing Jalen Brunson, just making other people make plays. And maybe this could be a blessing in disguise of Leon Rose making a move. And this could be a blessing in disguise of somebody like OG going off. And Dante Vincenzo. Maybe Dante Vincenzo turns in that like scorer that we all thought he was and takes it off the dribble more often. Or Quentin Grimes now takes it like there could be stuff to be done not making a move. And putting the part that like the the schedule is easy. I mean not easy, but like schedule is easier than the first half. Like man, like we can miss you for 10 games. We'll miss you, but like we're gonna still win those games because we're just built so well. And that's just my opinion on that. He has an MRI. He's dislocated shoulder. Get an MRI. No damages so far. It looks like he avoided a very bad injury, which is great. He avoided a very bad injury. I think 2 to 4 is my prediction is a minimum 2 to 4, and I think I'm gonna see a 4 to 6. And that is how many days is that? Oh, how many days? Math stinks. Okay, 7, 7, 14, 21, 28. So I bet that's days. That's days. So I guess 35 days he'd be out. How many games is that? Like, guess he'll be back by like. I mean, I'm guessing be back by March 8th. That's my guess. March 8th he'll be back. Just rest him for like a month. He'll be so recovered. And the Knicks are just ready to make that push March to April. I just see that like the kind of vision. But that's it. That's my whole thing on Julius Randle's injury and the sadness that it did pour on the Knicks' great win. But again, Knicks extend their winning streak to 6 games. So that's great. See you guys next time, and let's go Knicks, and peace out. Auto download and on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube,